Okay, now in order to understand the golden calf, we have to understand Abraham. So, what was Abraham doing with the blessings and the curses? And you could look at my video on Abraham, parts 3 and 4. Uh, but to sum up, he was testing people, right? Because justice for Moses is measurement, right? You can never judge another man's heart. I mean, it's simply measurement. You treat them as they treat others. And so Abraham is testing people. If you fail Abraham's test, or if you pass Abraham's test, he will bless you. If you fail Abraham's test, and this is, he's hunting down murderers, right? So if you fail Abraham's test, then he's going to kill you. Abraham is that guy. And so that's what's happening here with the golden calf. Moses is, Abraham is the ideal religious leader. And so Moses is giving them a test, right? Because he first, like, if we look to Samuel, he will talk, I think, about the prophet's warning, right? And you have to give a prophet's warning. And Moses does this, I believe. He tells them, hey, don't worship other gods. And that's his warning. Maybe he says he's a jealous God. A jealous God is, if God catches you in bed with another God, uh, so that's a warning. He gives the prophet's warning. And where does this golden calf come from? Well, he tells us, right? Moses and Uholiab made it, right? That's where it came from. He made it. He's testing them. And those who fail Moses' tests, he kills them. What's he doing? He's doing what Abraham's doing. He's purifying his home, right? He's purifying the tribe. And so this golden calf thing is a test. Uholiab is the great metal worker, right? Um, so we've already talked about the desert stuff. And okay, so they're done with the desert. They've been in there 40 years, and now you have uh, a strong Jewish people who are now going to take possession of the land as he wanted, right? And when they're in there, they meet this commander of the Lord's army. Oh my goodness, who is this, right? This is Moses, right? Moses is the commander of the Lord's army. And what's going on here is like deeper, right? Because commander of the Lord's army is Moses' true name, right? And so we hear that God knows all of the names of the angels, right? This points to an intimate relationship that God wants, but it also points to the structure of the temple, right? And so the structure of the temple is not a temple that is, overarching and tyrannical. Each man, woman, and child has a special, intimate, hidden name that only they know about. And so this name, commander of the Lord's army, this is Moses' true name. And we can see this. Oh my goodness, we can see this because when we see Moses in the beginning, right, what do we see? We see Moses as, he kills the taskmaster. And then he goes and he tries to correct the Jew who is abusing his fellow Jew, right? He's trying to lay down the law. So he's the commander of the Lord's army. That's what he's doing. That's where he's coming from. That's where he's going. That's his name, commander of the Lord's army. But, oh my goodness, this is a man who has wisened up. He has wisened up. And, when we see him in the beginning, he's like a tribalist or a nationalist, right? This is kind of his views. He's trying to lift up all Jews because he loves all Jews, right? But Moses' idea of the tribe has been transformed, right? Because it's all about purifying the home. And so for Moses, this Jew who's abusing his fellow Jew is not a part of Moses' tribe. Jews who are not virtuous are not a part of Moses' tribe, right? Because Moses is a tribe of the heart. We're talking about all good men, right? And what is that? That's loving, that's brave, that's just and wise. The simple virtues. A morality that is not overarching and tyrannical, but a morality that sets you free. Love is infinity. Bravery has many different faces. And so this is the commander of the Lord's army. So who is this Lord's army? This is all good men. Right? This is all good men. All right. So what is Moses doing in the promised land, right? Because you may say, he didn't go, he died, right? Well, no, this is a joke, and it's a dirty joke, right? Because Moses cannot go into the promised land, right? And the promised land, what is the promised land? Well, the promised land is the land of milk and honey, right? And so he's going to conquer Canaan, right? But as we will see, he's going to bless them, because this is not a bad man. But in his conquest of Canaan, there will be some evil Canaanite men who will die, and so there's going to be a lot of milk and honey around. But he's 90 years old. His dick doesn't work anymore. And so this is a dirty joke. Again, Moses is a light-hearted man. We have to go back to the water. This is a man who has rediscovered his innocence. This is not a man with a serious face. He has a serious face, but underneath, it's, like a silly little child. So that's a joke. This is Moses. Moses is the commander of the Lord's army. Right? But, there's something strange here. And I probably should have looked it up. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Yeah, no, because I think it's in Jonah. I don't know. Joshua, whatever. Joshua. Anyways, it says that when the Jews enter the promised land, I believe, if I remember correctly, that that no Jew who was born in Egypt passed over. I believe that's what it says. And we look at the golden calf scene like, oh my goodness. We have to ask ourselves, where are they? And some will say, well, they're in the Sinai, right? The Sinai doesn't hold... Moses can make it hold that many people, probably. He's a talented man. But where are these people? Where are the people? But who are these people? These are the people who have passed Moses' test. And so Moses has passed on his knowledge and his wisdom to them, to the men and women and children who were born in Egypt who passed his test. And I believe, if I can remember correctly, that the Pharaoh at one point had an expedition into Phoenicia and Canaan. And, when wars happen, right, what happens? It's like all the guys at the bottom are like the sword and the shield of those at the top. So the Pharaoh comes into Canaan and Phoenicia, and oh my goodness, a lot of the workers in Canaan are going to now no longer be there. And so this is going to allow Moses to insert the Jews who have passed the test into the Canaanite society. Right? So that's what Moses is doing in Canaan. He is organizing a revolution. And the archaeology, I think, backs me up with this, because I saw this one thing about the archaeology of a Canaanite city that was destroyed during this time. And according to the archaeologists, This Canaanite city was not destroyed from an army from without. This was the rich sections of the city were looted and burned. So this tells of a revolution that happened, and Moses did not pass on his knowledge to the Jews passing over into the Promised Land. Jonah or Joshua is the new Aaron, right? He's the racehorse, right? He's the racehorse, and Eleazar, I think that's his name. Eleazar's in charge, right? Here's Jonah, and here's Eleazar, right? But where's Moses? Oh wait, Moses is like a ghost behind Eleazar, right? So Moses is still in charge here, right? Not Moses, the commander of the Lord's army. And he doesn't pass on this knowledge to them. And why not? Well, because wisdom should be earned. Moses is a man of merit, right? Where the top Jew is actually the top Jew. You know, and there would, in a craftsman society, there would kind of be no such thing as top Jews. I mean, there would be the top Jewish robot maker, you know, the top Jewish book writer, you know. I mean, it would be about the craft, the art and science of, which gets into opinions. So the top is sometimes opinionated. But I mean, Moses is Moses, and the God of Moses is a God of freedom. So let's see, archaeology. They're spies that he sent in, and again he blessed these Canaanites, right? I mean, they happen to be living in his land, but he blessed the good Canaanites, and he tells us this. This is no longer the same man, but it is, right? And each of these Jews who are entering Canaan will now have a new name themselves, right? They're going to now take on a Canaanite name. Okay, let's talk about the battles, I guess. Okay, what's happening in these battles? So here's the commander of the Lord's army, and he's engineering a coup, you know, a revolution. And if you look at the second battle, what do you see? You see Moses telling us that he is the commander of the Lord's army, has control. Stupid pen. There we go. He has control of information, right? Because these aren't real battles. Come on, peoples. Like, grow up. These aren't real battles. He has control of information, right? So he has infiltrated into Canaanite society, and he now has control of information. What is the second one, or the first battle, right? The first battle. Well, I mean, oh my goodness, Moses controls the I don't know what to say here. Segment entertainment. Oh, I fucked that word up. I think it's A. I don't know. I got a entertainment. Fuck, man. Entertain. Okay. Anyways, he has control of the entertainment sector. Right? And this is how he's going to do his revolution, right? It's going to be a revolution against the people at the top, and probably not even all the people at the top. Just the worst of the worst. Um, and so that's what those two battles are showing us. And of course he put people throughout Canaanite society. He's going to be putting them everywhere. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, this sums up all the major parts. I mean, I guess all you can say is a literal interpretation of the law is blasphemy. And just pure stupidity. I mean, Moses, he sealed this book. That's what he did. He sealed it. And he sealed it by playing with the eyes of men who don't think. Men who are all heart and no head. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, you can, let's say this. How about we say the Protestant work ethic, right? Moses is a man of rest, right? And rest and recuperation are two different things. You need energy for your family. You need energy for your friends. You need energy for self-development if you want to learn something new or meditate. That takes energy, thinking, even though you're just sitting there. Without energy, you do not have rest. And so Moses is a whole man. He is righteous for his rest. He is righteous for those beautiful moments of life that are lost if the part becomes your whole. And so, I mean, all that we can say categorically is, men of the Protestant work ethic need to get the fuck out of the Abrahamic religion. You are now banished. You are anathema. Ew, come on, read the stupid book. You guys do not belong here. You worship a false god, right? I mean, think about that. I think he says it twice, that the wise men made the Jews work with rigor, right? Think about that. They made them work with rigor, right? If you want to be a man, work, 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 work. Right? You hear the rigor in there? If you want to be a man, work. That's getting the man to have rigor within for a false god, right? I mean, the men of the Protestant work ethic need to, just start up a new religion. There's a movie, Mad Max Fury Road, and they have this amazing engine related religion, and Chrome is a thing. Go do something like that. Work, be a man, work. I mean, Moses is a man of hard work, and we see this, right? Because again, Moses is this Renaissance man. When Moses works, he works hard. He's oh my God, he's extremely talented. I mean, he's a botanist and an insect guy, and he knows the link between cleanliness and health, right? Before the age of the microscope. right? So the law was created by Moses' understanding of the world and Moses' love for his people. That's how the law was created. And that I believe one of the prophets says, and in a future day, the Jews will have the law written on their hearts, right? Because this is the heart of Moses, right? But Moses existed in a specific time and in a specific place. You know, this is not some 2-bit hack morality that we're talking about. Moses' story is his own. And it's not that God changes, it's that the conversation will always be intimate and unique, right? Like one that has never been before. That's all about knowing them, each of them by name. So, yeah, no, the literal interpretation of the law is blasphemy, right? This is a man of merit, and men should merit wisdom. It shouldn't just be handed to them in a book, because that would create artificial men. And I think it says somewhere that you should not create artificial men. And so that's why Moses hides a lot of his stuff. And I mean, we already went into the craftsman stuff. Like, he has to hide that stuff, because if people understand that he's for a craftsman society, oh my goodness, they're going to be against that, right? So they would end up suppressing these books. And I mean, oh my goodness, Moses is you know, I hate to say it, he's anti-state. You know, that's another reason you have to hide it, because I mean, you have monarchies / dictatorships, you have republics, and you have democracies, and all of these fight amongst each other, right? But all of them would be united in tyrannical brotherhood against the ways of Moses. And you know, maybe I'm wrong in all this. Well, like, I'm just trying to interpret all this, but I mean, this is what it really sounds like to me. There should be no overarching anything. There should be no overarching state, and there should be no overarching temple. Right? The people should be free. Like, oh my goodness. You know, like, the Moses shouldn't have to be bothered by all this stuff. Like, he'd rather be studying butterflies in his tent. You know, he has no glory in telling other people what to do. You know, Moses' only glory is in power over his own will. Right? He's a man of innocence. He has power over his own will, and he has a loving heart, and that's all you need. I think, you know, Enoch says at one point this a beautiful way. Like, all you need to be is you. You don't need to put all these false expectations and pressures upon yourself. Like, think about that, freeing yourself from false pressures. Not allowing the false pressures to drown you. I mean, yeah, no, Moses, I think, is a man who has rediscovered his innocence. And to rediscover your innocence gives you wings. You know, Moses, look at Moses. He's a man filled with life. Like, that's why he learns all this stuff. He's filled with life, and he wants his people to be filled with life. You know, not warfare and death and work and warfare and death and work and warfare. And I mean, that's not the way of Moses. But what I'm arguing is that Moses is more like, if we look at him, he's more like a secret society member than he is the jolly old rabbi. Right? I mean, the Jews are afraid of him, just like the people were afraid of Abraham. But you shouldn't be afraid of him, right? You shouldn't. Just like you should not be afraid of Moses' God, right? Uh, Moses puts up this augustness around his God, but that's a wall, because Moses' God is tender and innocent and soft and fluffy and highly approachable, right? He's not the serious adult. This is all light-hearted. The face of God is like that of the image of an infant. If you attack a God like this, then this God will simply cry, because this God loves you. But there's separation, right? There's constant Moses is constantly talking about separation, and God ultimately separates himself from those who don't choose love. You can have all the riches. Like what do rich people say? Like, rich people constantly say, like, I wish I would have spent more time with my family. Or not all of them, some of them. What's that say? That says that true value is in the heart, right? Those are the times in life that you're going to remember. Life isn't supposed to be the same every freaking day. That's tyranny, What else is there to say? I don't know. This is Moses, I think. This is Moses, and of course, totally, I have not completely unsealed the text, right? So, I'm making these videos to invite you to help me unseal this text. And also the secret applies to these Moses playlist and the Abraham playlist. So go check out The Secret. That's my first video that I made. Because wisdom should be earned. And that this is what Hermes Trismegistus would say. This is what Enoch would say. This is what Moses would say. And so the secret must be lost.